I mean, I was thinking about Noble Drew Ali. When Noble Drew Ali came on the scene, what do you think? What do you think he kind of might have gone through? Or I mean, there are loads of stories about him being chased out of town, being killed, and all. You know how much. You know, I remember you saying that there's no way that they could have killed him, or he couldn't have been killed, or something like that, because he's of a certain type, wasn't he? He was a prophet, so he was not somebody.
He was a major Christ. So
right.
The arrangement is that you are not allowed to lay you as in the bad guys, okay?
Yeah.
You are not allowed to lay a finger on a Christ, because if you do, you'll be crossing a line, and then you're going to have all-out holy hell to pay. Because as part of the covenant, yes, you know, the good guys know what the bad guys are up to, but the bottom line is, you don't touch a Christ. You don't crucify them. You don't lynch them. You don't burn them at the stake. Okay, yeah. You don't bury them in the ground. So my strongest feeling on that is that story about him being chased down like a Charlie Chaplin film, yeah, and murdered. I think that was a story that was invented to destroy, camouflage, and bury the whole idea of an actual genuine Christ existing in the Western Hemisphere.
It was a way to degrade him, wasn't it, basically?
Yeah. I mean, it's easy to talk about the older Christs from the Eastern Hemisphere because that's over there. Okay, and if that's over there, then we can manipulate Jesus here in America to be some white plastic dashboard icon. A complete abomination to the original idea. But when you have the genuine article staring you in the face, Noble Drew Ali, and he's 7 shades darker, that's going to raise too many questions for white America.
Yeah.
So I believe he ascended like any other Christ would have. He had all the same, I mean, he had the bona fide training by the Egyptian adepts that were waiting on the docks for him to come over there. He went through the tests that every Christ goes through to see if they're the genuine article at the paws of the Sphinx. Okay.
Paws of the Sphinx, yeah. Yeah.
He went through all of that. I mean, no. I mean, none of us were there, but then again, none of us were there for any of the other Christs too. So what are you going to say about them?
Right. I mean, you can eliminate all, really, couldn't you?
Right. If you're going to
eliminate one, you can do all.
Right. And at that point, what are we left with? We're left with some white, pale-skinned comic book freak that's referred to as Jesus. And I'm sorry, that's not good enough. So that's not acceptable.
What should they really be doing with that?
So yeah, I mean,
do they need to come to the conclusion that, you know, these Christ figures look totally different to the way that they expect them to?
Yes. And I remember years ago talking to my brother about this, and he was like, he was joking about it. He says, yeah, he says, if we had a time machine, he says, imagine someone going back in time and looking for Jesus. And I was like, yeah, first of all, the word Jesus didn't exist at the time. It was pronounced as Isa.
Yeah.
Yeah. And second of all, if you went to Mary and Joseph and said, you know, where's Jesus? You'd probably walk right by the black guy or the dark-skinned guy who is Jesus, because you're looking for someone who's white or pale-skinned. Yeah. And I said that would be a sobering wake-up call You know, I would have loved to have seen Ray Bradbury write a sci-fi story like that.
Mm.
And because he had that story, the Sound of Thunder, where someone went back in time and walked off the ramp and stepped on an ancient prehistoric butterfly, and they were talking about the ripple effect of changing the timeline. And when they came back to the present, all of a sudden, the politics are all different. There's someone else in office. There's a different election
Mm-hmm.
taking place. The atmosphere smells different, all because
Right.
someone stepped on that butterfly. And
Right.
I'm in the same vein. I could see a story like that geared towards going back in time
Right.
and looking for these Christ figures.
Again, how do you think they would have to? How do you think they would deal with these? This is the problem. This is not the problem, but this is the situation. It's always about how are these people going to deal with these new situations. You know,
Well,
are they going to get violent? Because that's also a part of it. You know, maybe there's a lot of Moors that don't want to step out because, well, a lot of Moors don't want to step out because they don't want to die.
there is that, but then again, where's all that violence coming from? It's coming from a bunch of privileged prima donnas who were taught the wrong way in the first place.
Mm.
And I'm sorry, I'm not looking to have um, Hitler come back to power because these little piss ants are having their white privilege or white self-entitlement taken away.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I don't have any sympathy for them. I mean, you have no effort whatsoever on behalf of Southeast America, specifically states like Georgia or Mississippi or Texas, to keep their kids in high school. These states, I think Arkansas is part of that too. They
Mm-hmm.
have some of the highest high school dropout rates,
Right.
and therefore, and what equates to that is if you have the highest high school dropout rate, you also have the highest unemployment
Yeah.
because you have a bunch of ignoramuses who never learned a damn thing, and now they're allowed to run like wild dogs, uneducated, ignorant, and nature abhors a void. So what's the first thing that's going to fill that void? A false narrative.
Yeah.
Oh, they're out to get us. They're out to take our whatever,
Whatever.
our traditions away. First of all, what traditions? What heritage? What the hell are you referring to as a white guy? What heritage could you possibly have outside of
Shopping malls.
shopping
Shopping
mall?
malls.
What's been handed to you on a silver platter for 230 years?
Yeah.
Okay.